Hello, optimizers. This is JJ Ruescas, and you're listening to the Optimizing Me podcast, the podcast where we invite top performers in different areas of human development to learn not only from their stories and their tactics, but most importantly, their mindsets, how they see and navigate reality to continuously become and optimize best or better versions of themselves. Today's guest is a man who has spent the last decade sitting across from some of the most demanding humans on the planet, meaning C-suite executives at the Barcelona Football Club, Lacoste, senior leaders in Saudi Arabia, etc. And he has not only been in those ones, he has also been in the other side of the planet working with at-risk youth, for example. He's a licensed psychologist and international TED speaker, and what resonates very much with me, a high performance coach who has built frameworks that fuse cognitive behavioral psychology with, guess what, business methodologies like lean, Scrum, and design thinking that you are very aware of thanks to this podcast as well. His credentials are only half of his story. In his 20s, a rare diagnosis took most of his sight. And at that time, that's when he decided to rebuild his own character. And he chose to do what is next in the reason he's sitting across from me today. He has changed everything thanks to that moment, very likely, and we're going to go into it today. What makes our guest truly special, and the reason I wanted him in the show, is his ability to bridge two worlds that sometimes feel so at odds: the hard science of the mind and what is called the art of invention or reinvention in this case. He doesn't just teach change management, he is change management. And in an era where AI and disruption are rewriting the rules faster than what leaders can read, then lived in experience is rarely unnecessary. And we'll talk about that today. Without further ado, please welcome to the podcast the brilliant Ferran Tort. Hi, Ferran. How are you doing?
Hi, JJ. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and hope we can get so much insights today.
100%. I was doing more and more research on your profile, and every time I get even, first of all, more impressed, and second, more questions. So let's start. Let's start talking about who's Ferran Tort and what does change management mean to you?
Oh, that's a big question to start from. Who's Ferran Tort? As you said, you did a great introduction. I'm a psychologist, and I've been working for the last, I don't know, 15 years, and helping people and communities transform. I started a long time ago with a nonprofit, like helping like communities in need, and then same goal on transforming their environment, their reality. So change management for me, it's part of my DNA, I would say, because I've always loved changing. I actually started back long time ago changing my room. Like these people that has the same position, the bed always. I love changes. I love this part of like exploring new countries, and so for me, change is a way of evolving and growing, like being in the same situation, the same place, same environment. For so many people, it's like this comfort zone. For me, it's like the dead zone, I would say.
What does change management starts landing in terms of, or how did it move throughout your life? Because as you mentioned, you started with communities, but then somehow you changed into leadership, and now you're changing into AI. And let's start bringing the concept or the idea of AI, because that's what is connecting both of us at this moment in many ways. So how does that change in the case of Ferran work? What's the story that leads there with highlights maybe?
So yeah, for me, the connection, have you heard? I'm sure like this talk of Steve Jobs connecting the dots, that you can connect the dots, like not forward but backwards. Like once you're here, it's like, oh, that made sense, right? So. My goal always since I was like a kind of a teenager was to create an impact and help other people. So that's why I started with this kind of NGO, and the goal was to like I always thought it was possible to transform what you have, what you see, what is your reality. I always was like really curious about that path to transformation. So from this kind of process in the favelas of Brazil, this was really fulfilling, and like we were working worldwide, and I was able to travel and connect with so many communities and help so many people, hundreds, maybe thousands of people, like in different communities, schools, hospitals, and so on. But at that moment, I was doing that with combining psychology and
Mm,
art, like
mm.
street art. So we were like transforming environments with street art as an excuse to get people together. But that, like not randomly, but after many like much work, we got featured and media in Spain and USA Today in the US and so on for some of the projects we did in Colombia, big projects. And then I got the craziest call of my life. It was a CEDE, a Spanish Confederation of Executive and Directors, and they told me like, "Hey, we love what you're doing. We want you to do the same thing with executive." I went like, "What do you mean the same thing? I'm working with street art. Like what? Yeah, it's gonna be super disruptive." Had like this was back in 2017. Had no idea on leadership, no idea on corporate, no idea on anything. So I only had idea on helping communities transform through art. So I went there in like one of the top leadership like events in Spain. Like prime ministers were speaking there. Like the most famous like top speakers were speaking there, and myself, I was doing like my talk and street art activity workshop and so on. So I was rated the top trainer on the whole week. Yeah, it was crazy. So then, like, companies started saying, like, "Hey, I want this thing in my company." And it's like, "But what is this thing?" "Oh, yeah, it's like a team building or like a CSR or like." So they started putting in different boxes, like team building, like engaging, like empowerment. So that's how I started and working straight away with executive. And I think the kind of the common like part for everything it's like a core on like helping people like transform within to transform their environment. So that's me. That's been like a big part of my life, and now it's with AI because I've seen that this is the big change that we are all facing now. So it's the same core, but the surface, like the format, the like it changed, but the bases are the same.
What are the common mistakes that people fall in the trap of when creating change management for themselves and maybe for their organization?
I think the biggest mistake that I've seen in people, like when they want to create a change in their life and their organization, is just go find strategies, like straight away from the strategies, and that usually don't work, because we've all seen like this kind of, okay, I want to change my body and get a six pack. Okay, so I go Google and I find the best strategy, but that doesn't create any change in your body. So to do so, you have to first change your mindset. And this is part of the psychology. And what do I think about how do I believe about myself, the food, how I eat, and like in this example for like that is really like easy to relate with. But same with an organization. No, I want to create a transformation in an organization. Okay, we will bring agile, like something that you are sort of familiar with. So okay, we will bring agile. Yeah, but people is resistant because we've been doing the old way. Why should I change? So if you don't address that first, no, but the strategy is super cool. So then that is the biggest mistake I've seen, like not addressing the mental patterns that are established in humans that are part of this organization. Just going straight
With
with
the
with
strategy.
the
So, my guess is that when someone goes like that, there is resistance, whether it's individual or collective resistance.
there's always resistance, like there's because people like humans like prefer to be like uncomfortable. They call it the comfort zone. I don't like calling it comfort zone because so many people is uncomfortable there, but it's the known zone, so they prefer to be on the known that the uncertainty is like, wow, no, it's panic. It's like, and this is natural for human beings. It's like a survival like mode.
That, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is how the brain works. If it doesn't know something equals threat, or survival threat.
Totally, and we avoid that at any by like any way we are like going through that. You must be crazy to like go through this change. Like
What are big changes that you have applied to yourself that you also felt the resistance, and how did you navigate that?
biggest changes in my life. I had many. Like I had many forced from situations that in life. One of the ones you were mentioning is when I realized that I lost like a big part of my vision. I've been always. This was the kind of the biggest change that I had to face. It's not that I like voluntarily wanted to face, you know. So this was back at the age of 16. I started having visual problems, but as I've been always the crazy guy, you know, like the entrepreneur, crazy, like many ideas and so on. My parents were not taking me serious, like it's this crazy kid, like not paying attention, ADHD, you know, like this like hyperactive kid. That maybe I'm a bit, but still. The problem was that I could not see, so I went to optics and whatever, but they would not find the answer. So until my younger brother, 7 years younger, just said when he turned 16, like, hey, I don't see. And my younger brother is like the normal brother, the son everyone would love to have. So it's like my parents started panicking. It's like, what do you mean you didn't see? So then started doing test and test and test. And at the age of 23 for me, 17 for him, kind of, we were diagnosticated as macular dystrophy. And I remember the day I went to the doctor and said, like, Ferran, because I was always like, I don't see that much, but still, like, and the doctor said, I remember it was yesterday, he said, Ferran, it's not only that you see a little, like from 100% vision that a normal person have, you've lost 90%. So you have only 10% remaining. So you're blind. It's not that you see less, you're blind. What do you mean I'm blind, right? So for me, it was shocking. And he said, this 10% that you have remaining, it's fully colorblind. So it's black and white. And I was working with art, as you already know, like I was doing these murals, like painting schools and so on. So that was tough because it was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know, cut my finger, but don't like take away my eyes and my vision because this is part of my work. So I had to reinvent myself, and that was like forced. But there was like kind of a year or so that I stopped painting, that I just quit. It was like because the doctor said like you cannot, and I stopped because I truly believe that. So I was in one of the darkest places in my life, and from there, what the thing that took me out of there, and the thing that I always like share in my talks, and that if anyone wants to change, I recommend this talk. That for me, it changed my life. I don't know if you know Carol Dweck and the power of mindset. There's a TED talk called Growth Mindset. I think it's the power of yet, something like this. So for me, it was mind blowing. I remember like this is a long story, but she started studying kids, 10-year-old kids, and realized some kids, when things get hard, some kids just quit and get angry and complain. What she called a fixed mindset, and some kids love getting this like kind of challenge and like finding the solutions. What she called a growth mindset. So it's not fixed. It's like a spectrum. Like we can be sometimes more fixed, sometimes more growth. But how I explain it really is like whenever you have a big problem in your life, and we will all have big problems in big changes that we have to face, we have two options. We can find excuses, and we all have many excuses, or we can find solutions. But we cannot do both. Our brain is fully focused on solutions or on excuses. So when I realized that, I started asking myself the question, how can I? Instead of I cannot, as the doctor said, like you cannot paint, you cannot see the colors. So I started asking myself, how can I? How can I paint even I don't see the colors? How can I paint? So we started with my team that I had in the moment. We started writing on the like the paint buckets. Like, okay, this is green 1 because it was light green. Green 4, it was dark green. So with this, I could paint like without having to see the same thing that others see. And for me, like that is like a big part of how resilience like unfolds on this asking the question, how can I? Because if you like think, and maybe you don't have the people that is listening to this podcast, they don't have this visual problem. It's like, oh, this is not for me. But we all have this voice inside, like, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. And that is the biggest stopper for any
It's
transformation.
fantastic way you said the I cannot. I have realized that it's not the I, it's usually someone or the environment that told the person you cannot, and the person internalized or believes it without questioning, right? Mm.
Totally. And that is something that I learned. And there's this like a triangle of like the cognitive behavioral psychology that connects what we think, like the thoughts, the emotions, and the behaviors, like on a triangle, right? So it says that it's there three, like three of them are connected, right? So if I think like I cannot, how I'm gonna feel? I'm gonna feel like weak. I'm gonna feel not ready for that. So how I'm gonna behave? What's gonna be my action? I will not do it. So this is a cycle,
Yeah.
like a toxic cycle, right? But if I start asking myself, or feeling, or thinking, like, how can I? Then it's not real or like true or false that you can or you can't. Like, there's this quote of Henry Ford, I guess. It's like either you think you can or you can't. You're right. And I love that.
Yeah, it's the I can see it's what's the lens that we're applying to a situation. Now, when that relates to leaders or to business owners or people that are making themselves a change and when they face a challenge, let's put it that way, how do you apply or how do you see their mindset at that time? And what is it that you have seen as a rule of thumb that helps them to get unstuck for that one, giving themselves more opportunities for change?
Amazing question. First of all, what I see is like, as we were mentioning before, most of the people don't want to change. Like even like CEOs or big leaders is like, I would love to keep doing the same if it kind of works, but sometimes we cannot, right? So the biggest way to like kind of face resistance, I'm sure you're familiar with the ADKAR
Hmm.
framework,
Yeah.
right? Yes, like the awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and
Let's let's
reinforcement,
let's
right?
let's double
So
check
for
for the
me,
audience on that one so that they can understand a little bit.
I
Mhm.
will go deeper a bit on that. So ADKAR is the biggest kind of most renowned model for like organization transformation, right? As we were mentioning before, like companies go straight for the strategy. Oh, we need new strategy. We need agile. We need whatever, like post-its or whatever. The point is that that doesn't create any change, either in individual or in an organization. So to do so, we need, like, we can use ADKAR. It's a framework, one of the most used, and I think, and I truly believe, so that this framework can be used for organizations and for individuals. If you want to create any change in your life, first you need awareness. You need to understand what is happening around, like why is this the important, like in any single case, okay? If example, you want your kid, you have a teenager kid and you want him to read, why should he read? Like, why is this important? He needs, or you need to create that awareness. This is good for, but not because of me, because me as a mom, as a dad, I need you to read. No, why should you read? Okay. From this awareness of why is this important, we go to the desire. We have to create him a desire. And this is a big thing. And getting to the point of your question is like, what is the role of like a rule of thumb of like to start this kind of transformation? For me, the biggest one is create the desire. And this is again with the mindset, like kind of, it's a neuromarketing manipulation strategy or whatever, but it's like getting in the mind of the other and letting him connect or her connect with what is important for her. Example, on AI, many people is not aware of what's happening in AI. Many people don't have the desire because I'm 55. I'm too old for this thing. If we cannot change this, even the best strategy, even the best training won't work. So we have to give them the awareness and desire. How can we create the desire? For example, that happened to me like recently with a Saudi leader that raised the hand on like my kind of like a facilitation process and so on. And he asked like, but Ferran, I'm too old for this. I'm like 58. I want to retire. And I said, yeah, it's okay. You can be staying still and doing nothing, but let me picture this, okay? You have children and like you have kids and maybe you have grandchildren. So when they will be talking and like on the dinner on topics, you will not be able to connect with them, right? It's like, what do you mean? Like when imagine you had no like ability to connect by video call. They are in a new country, they are in like a US, in like I don't know, Japan. You have no knowledge on Zoom calls, you will not be able to connect with them. Oh, and he said, oh, now I have the need because I want to be able to connect with them. Even it's not for the company. Because again, every single human being has goals besides the company. So if we can touch that, that is what in psychology it's called meaningful learning. Like connect the learning with something that is meaningful for me. Okay? So this is the biggest way to create a change in any leader that I work with is like, what's in it for me? Like, why should I change? Because, and usually it's because of deep inner, like, I don't know, like goals or like,
Desires.
I don't know,
Yeah.
like kids, like, yeah, family and so on. So it's, as we were mentioning to end up with the ADKAR, it's awareness, desire. These are main for
Hmm.
any change, like health, like relations, like to go to a new country, whatever. Awareness, desire. Then we need the knowledge. If we have the desire, but we have no skills,
Hmm.
no knowledge, and how to like whatever change we want to do, we need the strategies here. Okay, but that's what training does. Okay, that's the like all the skills and trade and yeah information. But if we don't apply that, that fades away. So we need the ability to create, to turn that knowledge into a skill. And then once we have the ability, that's what most training fail is like, okay, I train you with the ability, but then we've all experienced that. Like, and I've been a training myself for many years. It's like you train people on something, they are super engaged, and after a month, they remember like less than 10%. So we need reinforcement if you want to create a change in your life, in any area of your life is first awareness, desire, knowledge, turn it into ability, and reinforce. Keep practicing to create a new habit.
It's just fascinating that you ended your phrase with habit because it is learning is a becomes a change becomes a habit in that case.
Totally agree. And we are living in the most disruptive revolution in human history, as you were mentioning. And as before, like many years ago, it was like, okay, I just study a degree and like I study 4 years and then it's that's it, right? Now it's not because oh you're a agile coach or whatever you need to change. No, like there's like everyone needs to change. So I think the only one skill we all need right now is not AI, because if you learn AI now, this AI will change in 3.4 months. It doubles the power, so it's like boom, 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 boom. So the only one skill we all need is the ability to lead the change, not just to manage change. That's why I hate the word change management. It's like juggling with change, like accepting and like a passive thing. It's like lead this change to where I want to go.
Two things that brought to my mind when I'm also connecting with my community. I always say, by the time that you read a page, AI has written a book. So that means that we cannot catch up. We just need to learn how to navigate the situations there. And what I wanted to ask now, getting more on the topic of AI, what are the resistance points that you're seeing in leaders? And because what I've noticed, and I wanted to double check with you or to cross reference with you, is leader gets the idea that, oh, I need AI, but they don't know what they don't know. So the wanting sometimes gets stuck. So what, tell us what is it that you're seeing there?
Totally agree. Like many people just have the hype of like social media and so on. I need like the awareness is there. Like we have to like for most of the people. The point is like I don't know how to like structure my mind and how to like navigate in this. It's same like with internet. It's like okay, there's a thing that connects people from different parts of the world. So it's a new way of thinking. So for me, what I've seen is like many like senior leaders would say they use it as a new Google. Like instead of finding the recipe for a hummus, like okay, I want a new hummus recipe, whatever, they do it in ChatGPT and they feel
I
like,
know I
oh,
use AI.
I'm
Yeah.
using AI, right? Well, yes, yes, tech. I'm trendy. So this is one of the biggest like insights that I got is that they feel this is AI, just like doing. But most of the people don't even know what's a prompt and what's prompt engineering. So again, for me, biggest resistance, as you asked, is one, it's fear. It's fear of like AI will replace us. Not everyone, like maybe not like the leaders, middle managers and below, like most of the people fear that, even they don't share it publicly. So there's kind of a common like feeling that if I don't use AI, maybe it won't replace me. That's what I felt in many organizations, right? Senior leaders are like afraid of like kind of AI transforming the processes and so on and not having the control. And this is a big thing on losing the control. As same when you delegate tasks to other. There are so many leaders that just love doing them everything.
Basically,
So
micromanagement, losing
then
micromanagement.
relate, yeah. So it's like no, because AI will do mistakes. It's like yeah, and you and I would do mistakes, but it's you know what I mean? So then it's data protection as well. There's a big thing, and the other thing that I've seen that is critical is that big enterprises move slow, and it's taking long. And the biggest resistance that I've seen is most of the corporates have Copilot licenses, Microsoft 365 Copilot, but the real usage is like really low. Actually, like I think it's less than 20% that people use it, and some people use it just to
Prompt
like write
emails.
to
Yeah.
improve a mail. You know, like yeah, prompt emails, and it's like, but companies are spending like a ton of money. Actually, I was talking with a company in Dubai like recently that they were like willing to change, like to improve, like boost adoption on AI because they were paying 30,000 licenses like every single month, and they were bleeding money every single month. So board of directors were like, we have to revoke and remove all the license. But then it's like, but we need to be on AI. But so this is a big challenge that I feel most organizations are facing now, that they haven't like implemented again a transformation process to really lead this transformation. It's just like okay, you have the copilot, maybe you have 1 day training. That's what I feel. It's like keeping them stuck.
Let me take this a similar question from the leadership standpoint to a more daily life, a civilian, let's put it that way. Because as you said, AI, and my thing is that AI is as pervasive as oxygen. It's touching every single human, and it's going to touch every human in every single angle that we can see it coming. So how do we address, or what are the resistance in our daily lives? We talked about the leadership one, but now let's talk it outside of that leadership, because that leader is a human outside of the company as well. What are the resistance that you're noticing and ways to start changing to adapt for daily life.
The same leader you mean in like in
In the
the
daily
daily life?
life, yeah, because at the end of the day, they are humans, right? Whether they are here, they're outside, and because that a human outside of work is going to still use AI.
Actually, like most of the people that get like the Copilot licenses, they use ChatGPT or other AIs as a side because they get like more familiar with or like so again challenges they have is and like a resistance they have is that they don't see how can it help their life and make their life easier. So this is, I think, what is the biggest roadblock. No, because you know when you have to delegate something and train an employee, that you spend more time on like telling them what to do than actually doing yourself. So it's like on this kind of process, they get like, but if I have to prompt that much and so on, then I do it myself. I just write the mail and it's not that long. And the point is like, no, no, it's not that long. Yeah, one time. But if you have to like do it over and over and over again, as we all do, we all humans do, like the same single shitty task, we do it over and over again, then you can systemize. So I think that the point resistance is one, I don't have time. I don't have time. I just do the thing. I don't have time to learn, to stop my life to learn, and so, and to think about systems. It's easier just to do it myself now, handmade, than to like create the system and so on.
That's a very interesting point because you're touching a faulty reasoning, meaning it's a wrong calculation of if I do it right now, I will avoid the frustration of telling an AI something that may do wrong at the cost of spending a little bit more of time and effort, and that is going to be automated for a long time. So I think that there is that's interesting because there is a short-sightedness of the person.
All in this instant gratification that I just want to, oh, I've done this, and then boom, check. You know, this dopamine, like, psh, 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 and it's like, I've done it. Instead of, okay, and spending one weekend on learning how to use this AI tool that will save me time, like, on the like path down.
You use the word spending one weekend. I will change it to investing the weekend.
Love it totally. Like actually, I invest Fridays on this, like because I was not able to be updated, and I have the FOMO that you guys have. I have the hype that you are guys. It's like I have no time to. So I block, this time blocking like strategy. I block some time and I send like my strategy to be updated with AI. It's like everything that I see that I feel it's a use case, and this is an important part. Instead of being like broad with all the AI things can do, it's like, okay, what are my one, two, three, maximum three? I would go with three. Focus on three use cases that you think AI can make your life easier. Is the most ROI, whatever the task, the most demanding or time consuming, whatever. Three tasks. Then everything you see related to that, you send it to like yourself by WhatsApp, Telegram, or whatever, and then block 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you have a week to just check that, but not just check. Try to apply it. Every Friday, I try to apply new things on AI. So it's like every Friday, I'm getting a bit smarter and updated on AI. So this is a way to like kind of serve the curve, exponential curve.
Love, for example, in your background, your whiteboards reflect the masterclass there on that is the logo of Claude and the different strategies that you have there. I can see your
Yeah, I'm here. I'm planning the systems and the funnels for the sales and so on. It's like how can I structure this? And I spend time on thinking the process on how can
yeah.
I remember that how can I optimize this?
Yeah, this is beautiful because many people think that, okay, I need to do everything on AI, right? And as you mentioned, from searching something that is trivial to creating the humongous plan to dominate an entire industry, right? but you are using, even with your background, for those listeners that are only listening right now, Ferran has his whiteboard with handwritten notes, by the way, and structures of that. So you're using reasoning as a human paired up with AI. How is your relationship with AI these days? How much, in what areas you use it and you don't use it purposely?
Love this question, and yeah, my background, I'm this crazy guy on the whiteboards. I'm actually, this is like a renting place because I'm like traveling the world and so on. So I'm now in Bali. So I just buy these like whiteboard stickers. So I put whiteboard stickers everywhere so I can draw as a kid and think and get more creative than just in a paper. So my relationship with AI right now is like I try to like be super focused, because if not, it's not, I don't know if it's because of the ADHD, but I get ultra like dispersed. Like I go here. So I go with one, two, three always in my life. One, two, three goals. More than three goals is broad for me. It's like first I achieve these three goals and then I move to the next one. So first I like use these three use cases, then to the next one. So I usually try to target the things that create the most ROI, that like save me more time. For example, for me, like creating proposals was like big time consuming, like for like each client and so on. So now it's like, okay, I have an AI like this kind of that records the meeting, that creates all the script. This script I just like update it like automatically to Claude, and this Claude creates the bullet points that I need to add on the presentation. The presentation is already a template that I add on like three spots, boom, and it's like change the prices in order like related with like the people, the company, and so on. So that is like massively, because it was taking me so much time. This is one thing, and another thing, another way that I approach AI, that I love this, and I learned I don't know where, but it's like a kind of game changing for me, and this is something that I always share in my talks and my trainings on AI. It's like, you know, the 80-20 rule.
Pareto principle.
Pareto principle, right? So I'm sure like all your audience know Pareto principle. The point is, how can you use this into AI? Okay, so many people are afraid of AI and don't want to do it because it's like you prompt something, it's a wrong answer, and it's like, you know, like AI cannot do this, right? So how do I approach AI? Mixing, I would say, I would go even further. I would mix Pareto principle and agile. Okay, agile like concept. Okay, so 80-20, but we split the 20. It's 10% human, the prompt, the instructions you give to the machine. 80% AI will do 80% of the work. But then maybe, obviously, the result is not exactly what you expect. So this is where you need the 10% to fine tune, to refine. This is what lean like manufacturing, and this like improvement, continuous improvement. It's not like one prompt will get you
Right.
the 100% result. Boom. So this is my approach on 10, 80, 10 on how to really understand AI and this iteration process.
So cool. You're blowing part of my mind, because what I've been doing with training leaders these days, I said AI means an intern, meaning it's gonna mess things up. And because it's gonna mess up, it requires another AI. And they look at me, looking at, what do you mean? I said, another iteration. The system that requires another iteration. So they get it finally.
And I think this is part in any process in life, in any change that we want to create, we need
Another
another
iteration.
iteration. It's never like ending. I love it.
Question. So the way that your mind works is extremely creative. How did first of all, how was your creative process? Which that is for me flow state. We were talking the other day about Flow Genome Project, for example, right? So how does Ferran's creativity work, and how did AI is enabling or complementing or taking it to a next level these days?
Oh, that's a complex multifactorial like question. So first, before I was like I've been a workaholic, like working, and I thought like the more you push, the more you will get. Nowadays, I with the studies of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi and flow states and so on, I've realized that peak performance is not related with pushing harder and harder like every hour of your life. So that's why part of my creative process is again being in nature, and I love surfing. That's why I live in Bali, and I'm lucky enough to be able to surf every single morning. So every morning I like wake up, I put my like board shorts, and I go to the ocean to be with friends and like sun rays, and this is part of like a breathe, and like kind of away from
Mhm.
the computer, and my mind starts like flowing
Mm.
differently, right? And after that, my day is done. So everything that comes after this is like extra, So then it's a easier way, and I know like maybe you're not all living like close to the ocean, but you all have something that creates for you that flow state, right? That state where you are like wow, super engaged, and you're like skilled at it, and time goes by. You maybe can think like I cannot do this every single day, but if you do this at least 30 minutes a day, you will see a massive improvement in your performance.
Mm.
This is one. Okay, so like connecting with these things that like
Mm.
fuel you.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
I
know,
get it.
Joseph. You want to add anything here?
So that is 30%. So what does high performance now means to you and for the leaders that you work with?
So for me, high performance here, um, for sure, it's not pushing like at all. Okay, so there's a like, and I've learned that from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the concept of flow. Okay, there's two types of leader. Okay, I don't know if you've ever thought about this way, but there's the salmon and the dolphin. Okay,
Mhm.
so I don't know if you know the story of the salmon, the life of the salmon. So the salmon is born and goes against the current uphill his entire life. Then it's dead. Like they put the eggs go down,
Wow.
and then it's like new like salmon like going fighting against the current ups. And if you feel like if you have seen the dolphins just use the currents on the ocean to propel and to boost their
Oh.
speed. So for me, that is a peak performance. Is like understanding your like states, your moments of the day where you're like better for this, for that. Then your skills. Like peak performance is not doing everything. Peak performance for me is like understanding my 1, 2, 3, like A game like skills, where I'm like a peak performer. For me, one is speaking. I don't know if everyone would agree or not, but for
Yeah,
me, what I feel is like
yeah.
love speaking. I'm really like confident at speaking, and so every day I need to speak. It should be part of my day because then I get fueled and I get the most ROI from my time. If I'm sending emails, even it's the same, it's communication with clients or whatever. This is not me. So with a single like small conversation on 20 minutes, I can engage more, I can get more clients, I can, you know, with this because this is my superpower. So high performance is understanding your whole context, skills, like timings and with to flow. Because for me, like 7 a.m., it's not a good time to start sending emails. I'm still sleepy. It's a good time to go surfing, and then I go back at like 9 or something, and then at 9 I'm fully present and fully ready to do it.
Hmm. Wow. I mean, I'm taking a breath to just digest everything that you said because it's like connecting so many things right now. In terms of change, go ahead.
For me, again, the idea of the dolphin, it's this powerful thing that we all have to relate on. Like, I'm being a
Yeah,
dolphin
you
or
just,
a salmon. So for the audience, like, ask yourself, are you a salmon?
you made me realize. You're making me think, and I think we're going to have a conversation afterwards when I digest these ones. Now, let me ask something about Ferran. What are the changes that Ferran sees that he's going to have to do, or that he's been invited to do to take him to the next level of high performance?
Okay, so here what I there's a quote that I love that what took you here won't take you there. Okay, so everything you learn to get to the point you are now, it's blocking you to get to the next level. So every like once in a while, like sometimes it's life that hits me and it's like, okay, now for example, most of my clients were in Saudi, in Dubai, and now this is on hold, right? So this at the beginning is like, I was not expecting this. I was forecasting something, and now it's not happening. But this is a great opportunity to open up to new markets, and like I'm exploring now, like Australia. I'm exploring US as I share with you. So this is, if I was doing the same thing, the results are like predictable. If I'm doing different things, I can expect different results. So this is, for example, like this is one situation that now it's like opening up my new possibilities and taking me to the next level. Second one, and the person that connected us is Jordi Falguera. The second one for me is like mentorship, like having mentors, having like a tribe of people that are smarter than you. I love being the most stupid one in the room because, like, as he says, Jordi Falguera says, if you are surrounded by people more smart than you, the only option is to improve. The only option is to grow. So this is another way that is always pushing my limits. When I see Jordi Falguera and what he's doing, it's like, wow, still have so much to learn, not yet, as Carol Dweck
Well,
says. So this is taking me to the next level always, like every time I speak with him or like with you, we were talking the other day with you, JJ, and about, you said, the open claw and this, it's like, oh, I want to learn more because this can take me to the next level. So I love surrounding myself with these people. That's why I am in Bali, because it's a hub for entrepreneurs and so on. And I think this is why you are in Austin, Texas,
exactly.
right? Because it's also a hub.
Exactly. Man, I don't know if
That's why we are connected.
I don't know if you do, but last week, like within 6 days ago, there was a presentation of the TerraFab. The TerraFab by Elon Musk. It's a combination of the SpaceX, XAI, and it was right here, 8 minutes away from my place.
You were in the
And
like
I
epicenter.
told you one of these days I'm gonna open the door and Optimus Prime robots are gonna start walking through my work.
So this is what also takes you, if you are in the middle of a small town in Spain, in like Bolivia, whatever, that would not be like that, like stimulating and like that, like pushing you and your
The
limits.
environment. And I do believe that also by using tech, we can create our digital environment to push us, to get us into different locations or to get into different thinking patterns.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And we have to be intentional about this because, like, if you are just flowing, like a jellyfish that just go like this or like this, then it's like I'm getting so like
Oceans, and yeah,
ocean side,
ocean
like ocean
analogy. I
related to
just
the
realized that.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, with the dolphin, with the so okay. So the point is, like, with the tech, it happens the same. Like, how can we, like, um kind of create an environment that is not ultra hypey, not ultra creating this fear of missing out all the time. And how can we just follow like one, two, three, like 5, 10 people that are just like real, like kind of thought leaders for us in different areas.
Answering before I even ask a question that I had, but let me play a little bit of devil's advocate because we've been talking a lot about AI and adoption of technologies or adoption of new mindsets, etc. Now, when a change is too much change and how to counterbalance, because some people are going to hear, yes, I need to change, and they're going to try to turn from let's say established business into a startup mindset, and that's going to be extremely disruptive. So when it changes too much change.
I never thought about this question. When it changes too much change, I think rather than thinking too much change, or like it's a matter of the one, the goal. Where are we trying to target? If there's no goal, change is like unnecessary, and change is like it's gonna be like a bad decision. Like same with agile, and we were talking the other day with Jordi, and said like people is like, oh, we need agile. Yeah, okay, but what's the goal? Oh, we need to faster, like stronger, and like But okay, what is the KPI? What is the metric? So I think change should always have like an end goal where we're targeting, so then we can create a strategy to reach that goal. When is change too much? I think when it's like too fast. Rather than thinking it's, and the point is that we are living in this disruptive, then it has to be, and it is fast and so on. But I think we should be gradually like implementing. If you change like a whole enterprise into a startup mindset in 3 days, 7 weeks, or whatever, that will create chaos because people is not ready, because people needs like steps. So I would say rather than like when change is too much, I think I would say like when time is too short, right? Like if I want to change and get fit, and like I always go to the analogy of fitness, right? But I want to get the six pack in 5 days because I have a wedding, and I will go to the gym 24 hours a day. This is too, this is too much. You know what I mean? But if you go 1 hour a day through the compound interest in 6 months, you can have a big change in your body, in your organization. So I would go like again going to the habits, the James Clear, like the 1% concept, that if you kind of improve 1% each day, each week, that compounds, and at the end of the year, by the compound interest, it's like 37% improvement in 1 year. So rather than thinking on like too much change, I would think on like spread it a bit so people can
Okay,
adopt.
you're making me think about this, Ferran. So what I'm hearing is, in order to understand when too much change is in detriment of the system or the organism of the person, it is understanding when it turns into complete chaos. So if it's too chaotic, that means that too much change. Second, would you say? What do you say?
Totally. Yes. Yeah, no, no, totally. That if we are like targeting five areas and changing my health, my relationship, my country, and that's too much, and like nothing will be
Right.
like
Second
great.
thing is understanding the context and understanding timing. That's what I'm hearing. What we say?
Totally. Uh, the point is, for a 55-year-old senior leader, you cannot go like, oh, everything had changed and tomorrow you have to. This will not work. We need to understand his context, and as you said, and then the timings. Maybe it's a process on like space repetition, and in this like touch points and touch points and touch points, and then in 3 weeks we can create a change. In 3 months we can create a change. In 2 day training, and I've been hired for many companies like, hey, bring here all your skills and like tools and frameworks in one full day. I've been to like in Mexico and then Singapore, in different places, like, okay, one full day, bring all what you got. This will not create any change. This
Uh,
is information, and there's a big difference in information and transformation.
The next thing that I'm hearing is the goal. As you mentioned, if there is no goal and it is change for the sake of change, it's not gonna work. Fifth, having a KPI. That's what I heard.
Being a metric, how can you measure if you're achieving or not achieving? Because if not, no, we want the transformation. Okay, we want people to be more engaged. Okay, so how can we measure it? Oh, they are more engaged. They are speaking more, like I don't know, like in the meetings, or they are participating more. If we have a metric, okay, we want to just, even it's that, it's like how many people speak in a meeting. It's only two people speaking out of 10. This is not engaged team. Okay, we want like meetings where like at least 7 out of the 10 people speak in every single meeting. This is a metric. Then we can target, once you have this like a KPI, this metric, First day, first meeting. Okay, only 4 out of 10 speak. Second day, 6 out of 10. Okay, we're improving. Like, what have we done that we are improving? Like, what are the changes that we have applied? Then you can measure. If you cannot measure, and I'm sure you're really into it, because of you were. I remember the other day that we were speaking. You were with this like measuring the
Brainwaves.
brain waves and so on. If you cannot measure, you cannot improve it. You cannot take
Mm.
decisions on that.
I'm going to throw something.
I
The
have to
one
learn a lot on from you on this
brainwaves.
like brain waves
Oh,
and like this
I'm sure
network.
that's easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that
I will interview
yeah,
you
for
in my
sure,
in
for
my
sure.
podcast for sure.
Something for that it's popping in my mind. Have you ever done a Vipassana retreat or silent retreat?
But
So
I
there
would
is a
love to.
concept called anicca. Anicca is basically impermanence. Another way to say continuous change. And it was so, in my own experience, it was, I still can remember anicca, 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 right? Everything changes. And it was so, so physiological, philosophical, and at some point even spiritual. I mean, understanding that everything changes. And the reason I'm bringing this is because we're living in a time when change is faster, it's way more to the forefront, and there are two ways. We take the change as it presents and forces us to change, or we decide to change. There is no way to escape it. And you were saying the leader that decides to, okay, we're gonna start using this AI. Let's say that's one thing. Or the other one is like, oh, fuck, my industry is changing so fast that there is no other way that for me to navigate that one.
The point is, change is part. It's always been part of life. There are some areas in our life that we understand that. For example, if you have a baby, when you buy this cute shoes and so on, once like after 2 weeks, these shoes don't work anymore. So you don't blame the baby. Oh,
You grow.
shame on you. You're
Where are you going?
growing. Yeah, yeah. No, it's we understand this is part of life, and we understand that we are buying these cute clothes and so on, and it will be just for 2 weeks or like a month or whatever, and it's part of the context and the awareness we have of that situation. The problem is that we've all I don't know, like in your country or the people in the countries they are listening, right? But in my country, in Spain, we all grew thinking like, okay, if you study and have a degree, and then you find a great job, then everything will be stable. You can have get married, have a kids, and get a house, right? The point is now it's changing everything that fast that once okay you get the degree but like the market has changed like on our grandparents like they studied or they did something for their life and it was the same job for our parents maybe they changed like a few jobs for our generation it's a change every 2 3 years maximum actually when I had a friend that stayed for I don't know 12 years in the same company. I remember like a lady from Singapore came, like a friend of like a group. And when she realized that guy spent like 12 or 13 years in the same company, it's like, what do you mean? It's I haven't seen that on my life, like only like grandparents and So I think this is part of life that we are all experiencing. And as soon as we are aware of that, and we can connect with something that creates the desire on us to keep growing, the easier it will be for us because change will happen with or without you.
Okay, okay. I have to sit after this. Just digest all the way drop. Ferran, let's do this. We're getting to a closing. So first of all, where can people find you?
I'm mostly on LinkedIn. I had like a social media like Instagram, but I kind of get tired on like posting and so on. So mostly LinkedIn. Anytime if anyone wants to ask, I reply for free. This is my commitment with humanity. Okay, so if you have any question, anything, and hopefully I can come to the States really soon, and I'm planning a trip maybe by September, October, so
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
we can meet in
amazing.
person and do
Oh, yeah,
something together
amazing,
there.
Ferran.
That
Yeah.
would be great.
And so, just in closing, is there anything else that you want to get people to know before I ask you my last question?
One of the things that for me would be important to share as well, as you asked me, like, okay, how did you get from this favelas and this kind of leadership and now AI and I told you there's a like a common like core that is like connecting everything, and this is the concept of Ikigai. I don't know if you're familiarized with the concept of Ikigai.
Can you double click for people?
So
What is Ikigai?
um, yeah, Ikigai is a concept from like a small island in Japan that is Okinawa. And Ikigai, it comes from two words. That is Iki is life, and Kai it's the reason for why you're here somehow. And so it's translated to English or Spanish as a life purpose, a propósito de vida, right? So why are you here? So this is you can find it online is Ikigai, and it connects what you love, what you're good at, what you get paid for, and how can you contribute to the world, right? This is something that I was obsessed, and this is a part of I feel of optimizing yourself, right? For the all optimizers, right? If you want to optimize yourself, I would recommend you like do this exercise, like just write all the things of what you love, all the things that I love. I love nature. I love tech. I love writing. I love to then what I'm good at to and then start connecting and finding connections because there is your genius zone, right? So my last concept here is like this like the surrounding can change, the context can change, but what I'm doing it's still the same. The format it changed. I started again long time ago doing graffiti in some of the most dangerous favelas of Brazil. Okay, and working with the communities. Now I'm working with city leaders and like governments in like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Saudi Arabia, with the leaders of the government. And what I'm doing is
Wow.
exactly the same. Is what is my mission? What is my ikigai? That is helping people and communities transform through the power of psychology and creativity. That creativity before was art and street art. Now it's more into like AI and how to think different and design thinking and innovation, but the core is the same. So this is kind of the closing thought that don't think if you're unaware on what to be next, that okay, my job will be replaced by AI, don't think on the outside wall and the jobs and so on. Think on the inside. What are your skills and core skills and values and like strength? Because if you keep that, no matter the outside.
Sorry. This is fantastic. I'm gonna put notes as well on Ikigai for the audience so they can go straight into different resources there. My last question for
Powerful.
you, if you could leave the audience with one question to help them embrace or enjoy more change, what would that question be?
Where is the thing that you are most afraid and you know you should do, but you're like scared as hell to do? Like I've recently read this book of like the five regrets that people have before dying, and one is like the biggest one is like not having the courage to do what they wanted to do and to be true to yourself. So I would ask you, what is the decision, the action, the thing that you know you should do? And if I love this concept of if there was like if your life was a movie and you had like all the room full of people, what would everyone would be screaming at your face like do this thing, do it.
I love this.
So this is my
I love this. I'm gonna do that myself even. Thank you so much, bro.
I love this concept of like if my life is a movie, like what is everyone is screaming like go to the
Yeah, come
US
on,
and do it, like you can do
do it.
it.
Thank you
Like,
so much for it. It's such a fun time, and I've learned so much from you. And I know that we're gonna meet in person very soon. Of that, I'm very, very true.
For sure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, JJ, for the invite. It's been a pleasure as well, and learning and sharing so
Thank you.
much.
And for the optimizers, thanks to for joining us into another episode of Optimizing Me. This today we had the brilliant Ferran Tort. We were talking about change management, change leadership, and AI, and more concepts related to topics that will help us adopt, optimize in areas of business as well as personal. If you like episodes like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to receive more notifications, and until we meet next time, keep learning, keep optimizing. See you soon, guys.